So there really is, right now, today. This will change later on in the year. Today, there's one New York franchise, albeit in the least popular of the four sports, but there's one New York franchise that today, tonight, at 7 o'clock, will proudly have the N and the Y somewhere on their chest, their back, their shoulder, the jersey, and represent New York with a chance to win a championship. And more than any other sport, if the one guy between the pipes, the goalie, somehow becomes otherworldly and turns it on in a manner that only a handful of guys can, and he's one of them guys that has shown the ability to do it, the New York Rangers represent all of New York's hopes right now for a championship. Now, you're right. Most people, you included, would be shocked if they won a Stanley Cup.
I would say shocked because
right?
I know what they're capable of, and I know how good they are. I just... what you got to see is you got to see commitments on both ends of the ice, and you got to see a defense that's going to handle the puck good. The other troubling trend about the Rangers, even though they won their last two home games, albeit against a Pittsburgh team that did not have Sidney Crosby in the lineup and was playing with a third-string goalie, the fact remains that they have not been invincible at home. If they would have just won five more home games, they would have just won 5 more home games. They obviously would have.
But here's my question. Let me get to my question now. Here's my question for you and all Ranger fans out there.
Yes.
He's a Hall of Famer. They'll put him up in the rafters at some point in the next 10 years for sure. And he has been in a line of, I think, 3 great goaltenders in Rangers history. He's one of them. Does the diehard Ranger fan today still believe that Lundqvist has it in him to put the kind of performance forward to carry the team towards
Well, he's not who he was
something.
5 years ago, that's for sure. We all know that. But we also know that the defense in front of him has been very, very suspect, especially, last year in the playoffs against Pittsburgh. I don't know how many times the puck ends up in front of his own net with nobody between he and the shooter.
Have you lost faith?
Not in him, I haven't. No, I believe that he is a true superstar. He has not won a Stanley Cup, but he's won a gold medal. He has been the backbone of this franchise since he's gotten here.
Because he's let up less than 3 goals a game this year, too.
Well, but the point being is that it's just not who he once was. And he went through a stretch there last year and this year where, when you're giving up 5-6 goals a game, it gets a little bit
and
dicey.
why are they so bad at home? They went a month without a home win.
Well, you ask them that, and they'll say, well, we don't play a simple game at home. We try to be, too perfect with our passing or whatever. I just think that, and I'll say this about the Knicks. I would say this about the Giants, the Jets. I'll say it about every New York team, maybe with the exception of the Devils or the Nets, that when teams come here and they play these teams in these big stadiums, they want to put their best effort forward. I always thought, and you'd have to ask the players that have played for the Rangers, but I just, as a fan over the years, when a team comes into Madison Square Garden, it's their game 7, even if it's game 52 in the season.
Right.
So when the Dallas Stars come to New York, they want to win that game.
Well,
when the Tampa Bay Lightning come to New York, they want to win that game, and they play their asses off to win it. And then they'll go to New Jersey and get beat, or they'll go to the Islanders and get beat. And it's always you're playing against the team that always gives their best effort. But nonetheless, I mean, at the end of the day, you have guys like J.T. Miller, Chris Kreider, Kevin Hayes, Jesper Fast. This is the next generation of player that has to step in and create, their own greatness if they want to be remembered as great Ranger players.